What if gravity suddenly increased, but only for liquids? Solids behave normally. Gases are mostly unaffected. But what about liquids? Every drop, ocean, blood, and cup of coffee suddenly feels heavier. Not dramatically, just noticeably so. Liquids are weird. They don't hold shape, but they do transmit force extremely well. That's why hydraulics exist. Increase gravity for liquids, and you haven't just made water heavier. You've increased hydrostatic pressure everywhere. Pressure at the bottom of oceans rises. Pressure in pipes rises. Pressure inside your body rises. Every system that assumes water behaves like normal water is now quietly wrong. And modern civilization runs on the assumption that water will politely follow the old rules. The oceans are first to complain. Heavier water means stronger pressure gradients. Currents accelerate. Deep water pushes harder against continental shelves. Coastlines don't flood instantly. Instead, waves become dense. They hit with more momentum. Harbors designed for centuries of normal water suddenly experience forces they were never rated for. Nothing breaks spectacularly. Things just start failing faster than expected. Engineers call this within tolerance. Right before everything stops working. Now the uncomfortable part. Humans are mostly liquid. Blood, lymph, cerebrospinal fluid, all of it responds to gravity. Stronger gravity for liquids means your heart works harder just to move blood upward. Standing up becomes mildly exhausting. Blood pools in legs more aggressively. Brain perfusion drops slightly. People feel dizzy, tired, slow. Doctors start seeing symptoms that look like mild cardiovascular disease in everyone. Evolution did not design us for selective gravity updates. Plumbing breaks next. Pipes assume a certain pressure range. Pumps assume viscosity and weight. Now liquids push harder downward, but resist upward motion more. Water towers drain faster. Sewage backs up more aggressively. Skyscrapers struggle to get water to upper floors. Civil engineers discover that gravity-based systems are suddenly less cooperative. The fix is obvious and expensive. Stronger pumps everywhere. Energy consumption spikes. Maintenance budgets panic. Rain changes character. Heavier droplets fall faster, hit harder, and transfer more momentum to the ground. Soil erodes more efficiently. Storms become better at rearranging landscapes. Clouds still float normally. Gas gravity is unchanged, but once condensation happens, water rushes downward with enthusiasm. Weather isn't more dramatic. It's more efficient, which is worse. Industry eventually adapts, because industry always does. Hydraulic systems get recalibrated. Fluids get replaced with denser or lighter alternatives. Some factories actually benefit. Higher liquid gravity improves certain separation processes. Others suffer catastrophic inefficiency. The world doesn't end. It just gets more expensive, which historically causes more conflict than extinction events. Transportation systems discover the problem the hard way. Ships sit lower in the water, not dramatically, just enough to increase drag everywhere. Fuel efficiency drops across the global fleet. Rivers flow faster, but boats fight heavier water. Airplanes are fine until they aren't. De-icing fluids behave differently, pooling instead of spreading. Hydraulic landing systems feel the extra load. Nothing fails instantly. Everything fails statistically. Accidents increase by fractions of a percent, which is how engineers describe disasters that take longer to notice but are harder to stop. Then economics catches up. Water is heavier, harder to move, and more expensive to control. That cost propagates everywhere. Food prices rise, construction slows, energy demand increases. Nothing feels catastrophic. Everything feels inefficient. Entire industries add new line items labeled liquid handling overhead. Governments argue about infrastructure upgrades. Accountants become accidental physicists. The planet doesn't collapse, it just quietly reallocates resources toward fighting gravity, which is how physics usually reshapes civilization. Not with fire, but with invoices. So, what happens if gravity becomes stronger only for liquids? The planet survives. Humans survive. Civilization survives. But everything becomes subtly worse, heavier, and more expensive. The universe didn't break dramatically. It applied a small parameter change and let engineering deal with the consequences, which is the most realistic apocalypse imaginable. No explosions, no villains, just fluids behaving slightly differently, and an entire species saying, "Why is everything suddenly harder?"